So promoting yourself online, what is it all about? I thought we should start with what's happening online right now. This is a graphic that I've updated from last year. I didn't produce it. You can see down here who it was created by Laurie Lewis and officially Chad. It's changed a lot since last year, but it just shows you all the types of things that people are doing. You know, this is American, but $1.1 million spent in 1 minute online. Nearly 700,000 people are scrolling Instagram. There's 400,000 apps are being downloaded. So, online is not just about people looking at websites at all anymore. It's grown and moved on in so many ways. People are dating 1.6 million swipes on Tinder in 1 minute. This is so. YouTube, 4.7 million videos are being watched on YouTube in 1 minute, every single minute of the day. So it's just huge. So have a plan when you want to promote yourself online. That's the number one thing, is have a plan. Don't just think, oh, I need to be online. Because you've really got to think about what a congested marketplace it can be. So how do you have a plan? Now, I use this graphic in the training that I deliver for content creation, because when I was studying my degree in PR, these 6 questions were the ones that I was taught. I studied my degree in PR back in the Middle Ages, so I've been using these for years and years and years to basically get the answers to any bit of content that I want to produce. But I also think that they're very relevant to actually having a plan. If you can answer who, what, where, when, why, and how when you're producing any type of content or having a plan, then you're halfway there to success. And there could be multiple who's, there could be multiple what's, and you can do this in 240 characters for a tweet, or you can do it in 1,200 words for a huge technical blog. But really, really think of those questions. Maybe write them down as answers to bullet points. But they are absolutely key, and they've been a huge key part of my career. So I would, absolutely recommend that you answer those 6 questions. But what else can you do? Everybody has a different way of finding a plan that works for them. Some people use, Trello or boards, or some people use spreadsheets. Some people write handwritten lists in lovely A4 books. Whatever way works for you, use that. Don't be led by the latest trend in buying loads of really posh felt tips and doodling your way into a plan. Or I worked with Tony Bazan for a few years, who is the father of mind mapping. There could be a way that is undiscovered, but you'll probably have a habit. Just make sure that you do have a plan, and don't get hung up on how to do it. Just have one. This is absolutely key to anything in marketing, not just having an online presence, but it is know your audience. If you don't know who they are, how can you give them the right message? And it's not just knowing that you want to reach businesses in the southeast of England with your service. It's what type of business? Who owns that business? What person in the business do you try and reach? What type of car do they drive? When are they looking at the internet? So again, you're asking yourself the who, what, where, when, why, and how questions about your audience. So I'm waving my hands around a lot. I don't know if any of you can see that. But yeah, know your audience and make sure you really know them, and then drill down and know a bit more about them. If you do that, then you'll be giving the right messages and you will have loads more success. Know what you want to tell them. So once you know who they are, you will probably change your original message, because you'll think, oh, actually, you know, yeah, I wanted to reach that business, but it's, you know, the procurement manager that's making that buying decision. And that procurement manager, you know, loves football, or that procurement manager only works part-time, or you'll find a detail that means you can really tailor, you know, your message. Understand their needs. So, and by that I mean respect them as well. You know, don't be condescending to them. Make sure that, you know, you are helping them solve a problem. Now, if you want to promote yourself online, the very basis of this is that you are trying to sell something, whether it's yourself, a product, a service. So why do they want to buy it from you? What is their problem that you can solve? And if you can understand that need, again, you can get your message right, you can deliver it to them in the right way, and you can solve that problem. Don't hard sell, because that's a big turn off. I like to think when I'm going online to sell something, whether I'm writing a LinkedIn post or whether I'm writing a piece of content for a website, you sort of open the door to that virtual networking room and you step inside. What would you say if you're in a real networking room, you walk inside, what do you say to people when you walk up to them? Do you say, "Hi, I'm Kelly, buy my stuff"? You know, you don't say that. People will just walk away. So if you want to be popular in that room, you talk about other stuff. So, you know, how can you, in a roundabout way, you know, do a nice soft sell, which is where blogging comes in. You know, you're talking about an issue that people can relate to, that actually, and if you have issues like this, we have a product that solves it. So, you know, yes, it's a longer game. There will probably always be a place for hard sell, you know, straightforward advertising, but even, you know, even 30-second ads now, you know, appeal to the emotional side of people, especially in times like this. Look at all, you know, banks advertising with black horses for 30 years. You know, yes, their logo is a black horse, but, you know, watching those horses run across the telly, run across your screen, you know, that appeals to your emotional side. So don't hard sell. And make it easy for them to buy from you. So what is your call to action, ultimately? You know, if I've seen so many web pages, so many social media posts, so many LinkedIn pages that actually don't give the right information at the end. You know, you sound amazing, but how do I get in hold of you? So now there are so many people on LinkedIn whose contact details are not their work email address or wrong. It's bonkers. So if you're selling a product, actually, are you using the correct landing page for that website? Because if you direct someone to the homepage on the website and the product they want to buy isn't on there, are they going to be bothered to click through? Probably not. A standard attention span these days is about 7 seconds. What can you achieve in that 7 seconds? So you have to make it as easy for them as possible to buy from you. So that's, you know, have a plan is the overall message there. So thinking about promoting yourself online, I'm now going to move into different areas, and we're going to start with websites. Now, I'm Generation X, so I think websites are still the main shop window. Social feeds, whether they will be in 10 years, I don't know. You know, there's lots of things coming up on the rails. There's loads of different ways that you can buy stuff. know, all the platforms are saying, buy from us directly. You can use, you know, you can get people to pay directly through Facebook and Instagram and all of those ways. So they are trying to get you to go away from your own website. But ultimately, whether you see your Facebook page for your business or yourself as your main page, whichever it is, it's still your website. It's your main shop window. It's a page online. So make it clear, easy to use, especially on a mobile. There are still loads and loads of, no, Meg will know this, loads and loads of websites out there that are rubbish on mobiles. And 70% of search is done in the hand. No, I tell this to clients every day and they look at me like I'm from Mars, but it is really true. So make sure that your website is going to work on someone's mobile phone. Keep it updated with new content. Now, there's lots of reasons for doing this. The main reason is that Google loves new content. If you keep putting new content on your website, even if you're just updating existing content with slightly updated stats or a new intro paragraph, Google is still going to love that new content and rank it higher than your competitor's site that hasn't been updated recently. So think about that, updating with new content. How can you drive people to your website? So this goes back, this isn't just necessarily online. Now, is your website correctly on anything printed that you produce, on any of your other advertising? Are you making sure that it's on all of your social media feeds? Is it in your email signature? Now, how can you drive people to your website? How can you make it engaging? Now, by engaging, you know, there's lots of different ways. The most engaging thing you can do is use video or pictures. But there's sort of 3 levels: really engaging written content. Add a picture, you're going to get a lot more engagement. Add a video, as long as it's not too long and boring, which is the other way that people go. Little clip of big video will make it much, much more engaging than just those words. And this has been proven through the success of Instagram and how video is used on social media. So, you know, you can also repurpose all of this content, which I'm going to talk about a bit later on. But, you know, how can you make your website engaging? If we go back to what I said earlier about knowing your audience might be engaged by loads of technical text. But if they're engaged more by a flashing picture of a shiny yellow jumper, then that's what you need to use. So you have to understand what your audience likes and make it engaging for them. And I often say to clients, this is not about what you like. This is about what your audience likes, because 9 times out of 10, there'll be different people from you. This is a slightly boring bit, but make sure your website is secure. Again, the amount of websites that don't have an SSL certificate, you can get them for free. Do you have the right terms and conditions? If you are selling something online, now you have to have terms and conditions. So you have to have a refund policy. Have you got a privacy policy? You know, these are all the things that you need to have. So look into them. Again, there's loads of free help out there. I'm not an expert, but you don't have to pay a solicitor to get this. You can get it for free and just have it up there. Finally, can your content be on other websites? I always say to people, if you're going to put the effort into creating content, especially if it's something quite expensive like video, and by expensive I mean takes a lot of time, because you can film things yourself and edit them yourself, but they all take time to produce. Can can you get it placed somewhere else? Now, this moves into the realm of PR, and in PR now we have the PESO model, which is paid media, earned media, shared media, and owned media. And I could do a whole other hour on that, so I'm not going to, but if you want to look it up, look up the PESO model of PR. It's, you know, writing content and getting it placed somewhere else for free. PR is the most credible thing you can do because people believe it. It's not advertising. It's other people almost endorsing you by putting your content, you know, in their publications, whether they're online, printed, wherever, you know. So can your content be on other websites? Social media. Now, because it's lunchtime, I thought I'd use donuts. You know, none of us are hungry, right? So what are the main social media platforms for? So let's introduce one of my favorite graphics. Obviously, going back to the very first graphic of the Internet Minute, there are loads more things I could have put on here, but for donuts, with Twitter, it's I'm eating a hashtag donut. You want to learn about donuts, you put the hashtag into Twitter. Twitter was the first one to introduce hashtags, and it makes their platform searchable, which is why all the others have jumped on the bandwagon, because they want their platforms to be searchable too. So I am eating a hashtag donut explains Twitter. Facebook is I like donuts. Who likes donuts? I like donuts. You want people to like donuts. Instagram, here's a vintage photo of my hashtag donut. Again, you know, making it searchable, people like insert, you know, but I've taken a photo. It's not just any photo. YouTube, here I am eating a donut. Generally try not to lick my lips while I'm eating a donut. Still can't do that. LinkedIn, my skills include donut eating. You know, please employ me to eat donuts. I would love that job. Pinterest, here's a recipe for my amazing donuts that is loads better than your recipe. And all of them have a niche or a USP that they sell themselves on. And this is because each platform works differently with its target audience. It's like the telly. You know, all of the TV channels, all of the, you know, they have news. There are specific news channels out there, and they're all of those news channels are effectively telling the same story. You know? So, but we generally, as consumers, choose one channel that's our favorite, and we watch that story on that channel. So with social media, you will get certain audiences gravitate to certain platforms. For the main ones, for grown-ups, Twitter is really good for journalists, really good for news hounds. It can be really harsh because it's quite faceless, and there are trolls out there who will shout at you a lot because they can hide behind their screen and do it. Lots more of those are being called out now, and it's a big negative side of social media, but it doesn't have to be. You know, if you are, again, if you know your audience, if you're getting your message right, if you're not trying to gain opinion and notoriety, why would people troll you unless you'd made a huge mistake with something that you'd sold? So don't think of Twitter like that. If you want to find journalists, because hardly any publications have in-house journalists these days, they all use freelancers. No, you can create lists on Twitter. Amazing journalists I like, and list all the journalists. They'll all love that. So, you know, pander to their egos and try and build relationships with them on Twitter. Once you have done that, make sure your content is on your website and is easy for them to find. You've got to give them the stuff on a plate, because apologies to anyone who's been a journalist here, but journalists are inherently lazy. They want all the content, they want all the pictures, and they want it all given to them so they don't have to do any work. Facebook is the establishment. It's been there the longest. It's got gazillions of people using it all the time. And it's the oldest audience because it's the oldest platform. So the most active audience on Facebook is over 30, 35 to 65, maybe even older than that. My kids, who are teenagers, one of them is on Facebook because he doesn't mind showing his nan some things that he does sometimes. And that's the only reason. People my age, middle-aged people, we're on Facebook because of nostalgia. Oh, look, there's my school friend I haven't seen for 25 years. And it might be, for me, I like to keep up with my family who live abroad. So Facebook is a big hub for me to do that. But Facebook is trying to sell to you all the time. How many ads do you see in your timeline now? How easy, how often does Facebook say, you can boost this post, please spend money with us? But it is great if you are trying to sell something to people who are in their 40s and older, and all of 4 out of 5 people will be using Facebook. Instagram is sort of Facebook's younger, trendier sibling. It's owned by Facebook. Facebook also own WhatsApp. They're trying to get you to use all of them all together. So you can just be using their products 24 hours a day. It is more visual, and you can use up to 50 hashtags on Instagram. Again, as a middle-aged person, I can't be asked with doing that. I like to pepper my text with hashtags in a grammatically correct language way, because I'm a content writer, which probably shows how old I am or what I do for a living. Make sure with Instagram that, video again is really engaging, but unless you're Jennifer Aniston or an egg, you're not going to get thousands and thousands of followers. Oh, unless you've got a really grumpy looking pet as well. That will work. YouTube is owned by Google. YouTube is the second largest search engine in the world. People don't think of it as a search engine, but how many times have you thought, oh God, I don't know how to fix that pipe, or something's broken, and you will search YouTube for a video to show you how to do something. So again, kids want to be YouTubers. They see it as a career, but try explaining to a child, for every one YouTuber, for every Charlie D'Amelio, or, my son likes Mr. Beast, for every one of those, there are millions of them out there who haven't made it. So being successful on social media is about being genuine, relevant, again, knowing your audience. None of them started selling stuff. They started out as genuine people that they really liked. And then they were approached by brands to sell stuff, and they became hi guys, here I am on here. It's amazing. Come and buy this. Come and use this. So, being genuine on social media is absolutely key. LinkedIn has evolved as well. LinkedIn is owned by Microsoft, and over the last 4 years has really, really evolved since was bought by them. There are 2 sides to LinkedIn now: your profile, which is all about you on the internet, and also your company page, which can be used as the hub for all your information. So with you on LinkedIn, make sure that you're talking in the first person, and with your company page, make sure you're talking in the third person, if that makes sense. So use your company page as the hub for all your information. It gives you another bite of the cherry. It allows you to get your information shared out there, and then you can have an opinion on that information that you've posted on your company page. So do that, because not many platforms allow you to get double bubble for your information. Pinterest is great for recipes, brides. If you are in the bridal industry and you're not on Pinterest, you are missing a huge trick. People that like the home industry, they like collecting things. Again, it's hugely visual. If you're an interior designer, anything like that, there are also really specialist social platforms out there, things like Etsy for crafters, and just loads and loads. So do some research and make sure that you are being genuine on whatever social media platform you use. So think about your specific audience. Who's making the buying decisions? Now, with a lot of owner-managed businesses, it will be the boss, who's still there every day, not letting go, wanting to make sure that they make all the decisions. But go up a level of a company, and it's not the boss at all. They're going to have a procurement manager. They're going to have someone else. So, or are you appealing to individuals? If you're trying to sell to kids, it's not them making the buying decisions, it's their parents, but you have to get them to see it and them to pester their mum and dad. So, you've got to find your way through to your person who's actually making the buying decision. How can you appeal to your target age group? So again, knowing your audience. If you know how old they are, you're going to know what appeals to them. If you're appealing to people under 20, you're looking at things that I haven't got a clue about, like Snapchat and TikTok, and loads of people are on TikTok now, but it is a younger age group platform. If it's allowed in countries, if it doesn't get banned anywhere. Think about your page name or your username. I see so many people on LinkedIn who have not changed their username. When you join LinkedIn, it gives you a username of your name and loads of random numbers at the end. You can go in and change that to a specific name that you can then put on your business card or in your email signature. And you can just say to people, find me on LinkedIn at /Kelly O'Hare. And I got in before the other Kelly O'Hare, which I was really pleased at. If there is another person with your name, then think about your middle initial or an A number after your name, something that's easily memorable. So make sure that your page name or username is memorable and that you can use it other places. Do you need to join or start a group or a list? I mentioned lists in Twitter earlier. Facebook groups is the biggest expanding bit of Facebook at the moment. People want to be part of a tribe, so they'll join groups. There's also groups on LinkedIn. And the good thing about groups on LinkedIn is that some of them have like 65,000 members. And once you join that group, that gives you access to link and connect with all the other members of that group. You can just connect with them because you're a member of the same group. So if you're looking to grow your connections on LinkedIn, do you need to do that? Can you publicize events? Now, we all know that Facebook pages have events, but actually loads of them, work well with Eventbrite. There's, can you promote events? If you run a group, you're the admin and you can send notifications to all the group members about your event. So, can you publicize events if you need to, when we're allowed to have them again, obviously, or virtual events like this one today. Do you like using hashtags? As I mentioned earlier, Twitter was the first one to introduce hashtags and everyone went, what are they? But once people understood that hashtag makes it searchable, then that will give your post longevity. So now even LinkedIn will suggest hashtags for you to use at the end of a post or in the middle of a post if you want to use them the grammatically correct way, like I do. But with hashtags, you can also use them ironically. So, quite often I will do a post like, "Yay, 5 loads of washing to do." Hashtag said no woman ever, because it just allows you to put a bit of your personality in that post. So by saying, "Do you like hashtags?" I'm sort of saying, please like using hashtags, get used to them. They will make your post searchable. They will allow you to get across more of a message in 240 characters. Is it 280 characters? I don't know, to get confused. But it used to be half that amount anyway, and now it's double. We're all grateful for that. Can you make it visual? Now, again, so some social platforms have been specifically set up to be visual. Some of them have been specifically set up for things like gaming, like Twitch. So can you make it visual? Because it will make your message so much more engaging. Search engines. So we're moving on from social to search engines. And by that I mean Google. There are other search engines out there. Bing desperately tries to cling on to Google's coattails, and we've got DuckDuckGo for people that are hiding from the government or something, and we've got what other, Firefox, Safari, rubbish, but Google is still 96% of search in the UK, and it owns YouTube, which, as I said, is the second most used search engine in the UK. There are globally, what Weibo, I never know how to say it, but in China, Google, is banned, so you have to use their search engine. But for the main Western world, Google basically runs it from a search engine point of view. So how can you use Google to your advantage without paying it loads of money? It works, all large social media platforms work really hard on their SEO, which is for those in search engine optimization. So LinkedIn works really, really hard on its own SEO. If you type your name, if somebody meets you or goes to an online and sees your name in a corner but doesn't know where you work, and they go, "Oh, I wonder where that person is," and they type your name into Google and you have a LinkedIn profile, your LinkedIn profile will probably come top. And if your LinkedIn profile is out of date, what is that going to say about you? So think about how hard all of these things. Facebook will chuck up your Facebook profile. So, if you're applying for a job, or you're trying to sell yourself to someone, or you want to contract somewhere, think about your social platforms, because all these things are going to be found by people who are looking for you. Google Maps is a hugely powerful tool. Even if you don't actually have a physical business place to put on the map, you can still have a Google My Business page. Bing also copies, it will completely copy your Google My Business page over to its platform, Bing Places. It just expands your digital footprint a bit further. So if you can do that, why not do it for free? I just think, go on. You can post on Google My Business. So if you know that you're selling to a business-to-business audience, and they're sitting at big desks looking at big screens most of the day, when you search in Google, on the right-hand side of the screen, you'll see that little info banner, which will have a picture. It'll also show the latest Google My Business post. It'll show your Google reviews. Never ever forget that Google loves itself more than anything else in the world. So it's going to rank posts that you put in Google My Business really, really highly. You can use hashtags in them. You can use keywords and key phrases. And if you've combined the free tools that Google gives you to make sure that you've got your right key phrases, you've got your, your hashtags going on, you've got a really nice picture that you've added some alt text to, all of a sudden you're going to have a gold-plated, high-ranking post that's going to chuck you up above your competitors. So make sure you use these free things. Are you responding to Google reviews as well as asking for your reviews? Sometimes nobody's perfect. I've got clients who hyperventilate every time someone doesn't give them a 5-star review. And I say to them, actually, that's because you're a real business. You've just got to respond quickly. If it's really, really bad, then just say, please call us, please pop into the shop so we can take this offline, so we can investigate, and just take it offline. But make sure that you are responding, because it shows people that you care. It will make people want to review you again, and those types of things. So it will help increase your reviews, which again really, really matters if you're trying to sell stuff. Do you own the pages? It sounds like a really basic thing, but the amount of businesses I go and see, and I put them in Google, and it pops up and says, do you want to claim this page? Like I can claim that business as my own. To make sure that you own your own page, because Google will probably have created something for you anyway if you have an online presence as a business. So while we're talking about reviews, it's your job to keep on top of them, because it's your live feedback. You can respond quickly. Your responses will show customers how much you care, and you can use the information to make changes and improve your business. If you're a cafe and someone says, oh God, it was really drafty sitting in there, I'm not going back, close the window, and then you don't get that comment again. So, actually pay attention to what your customers are saying. They are all highly regarded, whether it's TripAdvisor, Google, Facebook. Google and Facebook are working really, really hard to kick TripAdvisor out at the moment. It's just another thing you can't be bothered to open. But TripAdvisor reviews, especially for food establishments, are still really, really highly regarded. All the delivery apps are now, we're all a bit reviewed out, aren't we? Never mind Trustpilot or Review or any of those separate ones. But the amount of reviews that you have in an online marketplace does really matter. I would suggest that, a bit like social media, pick 2 and focus on those. And if you are a business with an offline presence, so you're a business that someone goes to visit, like a restaurant or something like that, have offline requests in the restaurant. Please, enjoyed your coffee, please review us on. There is no harm in asking. Again, if you've got online ordering, don't forget to put that in your call to action, on your receipt. How can you be asking people to review you once they have completed the purchase? Advertising. Now, here's where I'm going to hold my hands up and say I'm a communications expert, and I'm not an online advertising expert, but I have done a little bit of it. Pay-per-click campaigns, Google AdWords, they can be really highly effective. However, in my experience, they can also cost a huge amount of money, especially if you're in an industry where your keywords and key phrases are very common and it's very competitive. So you've got to work really, really hard on your research. There are free tools out there that you can use to create lists of keywords and key phrases. make sure you do them, and don't just leave it. Don't just do one and go, oh, there were our keywords. You know, when did you do that? Oh, 2 years ago. No, actually, make sure you're on top of that and keeping updated, because this research will ultimately save you a lot of wasted money. You can also use other avenues like retargeting. That's a dark art that only, you know, wizards from Slytherin use, as far as I know. But when you've been on Facebook, Clarks are amazing at this. If you go onto the Clarks website and you see a pair of shoes and you click on it for a nanosecond, it will then appear on every social media feed and every other website you look at as a banner ad. Hello, remember these shoes you looked at for a nanosecond? Please buy them. That's retargeting. Like I said, don't actually know how it's done. I'm sure it's fine. Mobile is the fastest growing form of advertising. So think ads in games. You know, it can be done geographically. So recently, a little game that I play in the evenings, I had an ad from Chestnut Tree House at the bottom of it. I've also had ads from local estate agents. So, you know, there's actually free platforms that you can use, and, you know, agencies that will specifically do that for you, but it doesn't have to be expensive if you're drilling down your audience. So one of the beauties of online advertising is that if you know your audience, again, and you can drill them down, especially geographically, you're making that audience smaller. And the smaller your audience is, the less money you will spend on the advertising. And that is why printed publications and their advertising has died a death, because those publications are selling to the masses, whereas you don't want to sell to the masses. You know who you want to sell to, and online advertising allows you to reach just them. So think about how your advertising can be targeted, and make sure that you do the right targeting if you are going to spend money on the advertising. Because when you do take advertising, and this hasn't changed in many, many years, is you can't just advertise once. You are going to have to place that advert again and again and again until someone buys from you. And they used to say it was 5 touch points until you actually made that buying decision. It's probably more than that now. It's probably double, because people are very desensitized to advertising and they see so much of it all the time that you've got to make it effective. So advertising on social media, this is something that the masses can do very easily, because they're all developed to make money. They all want you to spend money, and why wouldn't they make it easy for you to do that? Now, as an agency, you know, we have a business platform, especially on Facebook, but anyone can do it. So you can place a display ad, or you can just promote a tweet or boost a post, or promote on LinkedIn. Any of the major platforms are very easy to use. Boosting posts is really, really effective on Facebook, and really cost effective as well. You can drill down, and for the local Worthing area, I've placed ads for care staff, especially, quite often. And I mean, if we spend £80 a month, it reaches loads and loads and loads of people. So it doesn't have to be expensive to do this, but that's only if your audience is there. So we always come back to know your audience. So you can target them very, very specifically, and you go and you set your audience, you drill it down, and you say, no, actually, I want people in Worthing area. Actually, I just want the women. Actually, I just want them aged between 25 and 50. Actually, I want their interests to be, and you list the interests, and all of a sudden you've gone from 110,000 people to 6,000 people who are much more interested in the thing that you're selling. So I can stop talking now and say, any questions?
When starting or growing a business, I always think, like you mentioned the website, but the other part I think of that is an email list. And do you have any tips on growing an email list from nothing? Because it is a very hard thing to do.
Yeah, I didn't talk about email marketing, but growing your email list, again, you know, make sure you're asking for people to sign up to things, not too in your face, but, you know, if you're writing a blog, give them a reason, to find out more about this, sign up to our newsletter. You know, what is going to be in it for them from your newsletter? You know, people don't just give away their email addresses these days. Well, kids do, because they don't. But
call to action to go to the email list and sign up, essentially.
Yeah, so, but, you know, a little pop-up. I know I like the Bloom plugin that you can use in WordPress, but there's lots of ways that you can add in whatever website platform, have a little pop-up, but don't make it a big flashing one that doesn't go away.
Yeah, I'm at that point. I'm looking to build something on the side, but I need to grow an email list around it. So it's I'm kind of chicken and egg.
One way you can do it is you're allowed to, if you're starting a list, go through your actual emails, your email connections. You can export them. You can also export your LinkedIn connections to a spreadsheet.
Okay.
But you can send them 1 or 2 emails saying, hi, I'm starting a newsletter. It's going to be about this. If you would like to be part of it, that would be great. You can win, or give them a reason to stay on. But
there's
also
a GDPR component.
Very clear way to unsubscribe.
Yeah. So, but they need to consent.
Yeah.
So you get allowed to mail.
Please tick here to stay on this list.
All right. Yeah, that's good.
Something like that. But the GDPR phrase is legitimate interest.
Okay. Yeah.
So as long as you give them a legitimate interest, or they have a legitimate interest. So, because there was a lot of argument around when it all came in around, but these people gave me their business cards. Why wouldn't they want me to contact them if I didn't know? But the business card isn't a digital piece of information.
Right.
So, but realistically, with GDPR, that information office is now funded by the fines. It doesn't get any funding apart from the fines. So it is not going to go for teeny tiny businesses.
Yes.
It's not going to make any money.
Fund it,
yeah, it's going to cost it money to do that. So
I kind of want to do it the right way, but I don't want to.
Yeah, I mean, yes, do it the right way, and make sure you have a GDPR policy, and you've got a very clear way of allowing them to unsubscribe.
Yeah.
So,
which newsletter platform do you think you'll use for that, John?
Probably going to use MailChimp, just because it's one I know, but I have looked at SendGrid as well, and I'm kind of shopping around. I'm trying to get the content together to make it worth signing up for, because otherwise there's no point, and nobody's going to care.
Again, have your plan, have your content plan.
Exactly. But there's a lot of moving parts to it. So.
MailChimp, you do know MailChimp's just launched a whole new way of, it doesn't look like MailChimp anymore. That happened last week.
Really? Okay.
Yes.
Right. It's another weekend gone, isn't it?
We opened it last week and went, oh my God. Just when you thought you'd learnt it all, something.
They've been expanding their offering quite a lot in the last year, but great. So it's changed again.
Yeah, they've made a lot of change.
They're trying to become HubSpot, aren't they?
Yeah.
Jules, did you have a question?
Do you want to?
You're on mute. Do you want to unmute yourself?
I might be able to unmute you. Hang on.
Unmute. Hello. Yes. It was that. Was there another platform? Because MailChimp defeats me anyway. Now it probably will even more. Is there another platform, another way of sending email content?
There are loads of them. There's loads of them, and then one of the best things to do if you're unsure is just go into Google and look at the review sites for the latest ones, because they're all changing all the time. So there used to be Mad Mimi. There's ones like Infusionsoft, which cost quite a lot of money, but it depends on what you want to do with it, the size of your email database
Right.
as well will depend on what you can get for free,
Yeah.
and what you can't,
Yeah.
and
Yes.
just just have a look.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. I'll talk to Martin about that.
He'll just talk to me.
Well, I can talk
Once you've spoken to him.
to you as well. No, it's just you know, because I've got the little pop-up box that flashes up on the website, built and looked after by Seaside Creative, and yeah, and now I think if people sign into that, do they automatically? I mean, all of that sort of all comes up with MailChimp. Is that
if we did it for you, we'd take that spreadsheet and put it into that sign up would go into your MailChimp database automatically.
right? Yes, it does. It does.
And then you can, the good thing about MailChimp is you can still segment your database. You can, as in you can sort them vertically.
Oh, I can't. But
So, yeah. So you know you can have people, you can resend. So you can send your email out, and then 7 days later you can resend it to the people who have not opened it.
yeah, so I gather.
Like that, which is really, really useful. And it's still, you know, it's free for up to, I want to say 2,000.
Yeah, I've only got 100, less than 100.
Yeah. And also it is completely GDPR compliant. So
Yeah.
you know that, you know, you are safe with MailChimp as well. So
But when I write, if I write a blog, which I do write a blog that goes on the latest news bit of the website through WordPress, and then I think, well, I can just lift that and put that onto MailChimp.
You can, or you could précis it. So you could take the start of it and the basic bit, just the first paragraph and a bit,
Yeah.
and say, our latest blog is about, no, and then direct them to your website, because why would they have a reason to click through if you had given them all of that information in the first place?
Oh, that's brilliant.
So
well, that would
just give them,
that'll take the edge off a bit.
give them a teaser bit of your blog, and then get them to click through for the rest. And then don't forget to use your call to action at the end of your blog. What do you want them to do once they've read your blog?
Right.
Do you want them to go, well, that was a nice blog, brilliant? Or do you want them to buy something?
Yeah, most of the time they've already bought it, because it's usually, the blog is usually the news about the work that I've just done, because it's in schools.
So, or could you tell people to recommend you? Could you ask people to, you know, tell other schools about what you do?
Thank you. Call to action. Lovely. Thank you. Can try. And Instagram. I'm very new to Instagram. Am I right in thinking you can really only use it on your phone? I mean, it doesn't really work on a desktop.
Yeah, it's an app that was developed for mobile platforms. And if you want a bigger screen to use it on, use a tablet.
Right. Okay. And when you want to upload, or when you want to put something on it, because I've only done one post so far, because I don't really quite know how to do it, do you just press the plus button? Yeah. I mean, this is really basic. Press the plus button.
Yeah, to add something on. The reason it was developed for your phone is because your phone takes the pictures.
Oh.
So it's a visual platform. It wants you to take a picture and share it, or film a bit of video and share that.
Okay.
So that's why it was developed for your phone.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Yeah. Okay.
You'll be fine. We'll get you there. It's okay.
I'm an ongoing project.
Every day is a school day.
It certainly is, yeah. Thank you, though. That's useful.
That's a pleasure.
All All right. Do we have any last questions? Anyone? No? Okay. I think a big thank you to Kelly.
Yes, very much. Thank you.
Been really great. Yeah, I really appreciate it. And yeah, we look forward to seeing you on the next few calls. Thank you, everyone. Hope you have a good rest of your day. All right.
See you later.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks a lot. Oh, hi, Martin.
Bye.